Why aren't you voting?
I've already voted.
Go vote. Not you, Darj. Them. Go vote.
Oh, them.
Yeah.
Yes, go vote. Now. Stop watching and go vote. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Fortnightly Frontier, where I, Darjanator, and my good friend Myre, over there, talk about Star Citizen and, shock of shock, Squadron 42 of all things.
What's
as
that?
well, because, I don't know.
A thing, apparently, yeah.
It's a thing. Yeah, it's a thing that we've been threatening to do a show about since CIG threatened to give us a video.
Remember that? Remember, like, earlier this year, we're like, okay, and welcome to a Squadron 42 Fortnightly Frontier. We'll give you the next one when the video comes out.
And
it took a birthday to bring us here, but here it is.
Yeah. It's fun though.
Oh yeah, there's been so much news, so much that we can't really cover everything in one go. Because we're not a news agency, at least not this show.
No.
Maybe my mainstream, perhaps, but
yeah. Considering it was the birthday of Star Citizen development, CIG saw fit to inundate us with so much info in terms of Squadron 42 and the election and the roadmap and what else?
Squadron 42, the roadmap, the elections, Halloween
stuff. Yeah, exactly. We got the 100i has been released. The 3.11's been actually released to live. 100i's actually got skins that we didn't get in the PTU, which were a nice
really cool
surprise.
skins.
That black one's quite cool.
The slate.
Yes.
And a reason to kill. And a reason for some people to be pretty salty. You know, like, really salty. I mean, like, I guess there's, people will always, anything happens, anything that changes, people will always, be people. But
yes,
having been...
because they can't see the big picture, and it's CIG using an in-game event to test mechanics.
Fair. But having been part of the problem, I mean, I feel for them a tiny bit.
I've been watching your stream, and you're quite bloodthirsty. That helmet's changed you, man.
It has, but I only need 25 more kills before I need more blood. I think this is me now.
Yes.
But
all of these topics and more we will be covering in the following weeks. The election we'll be covering next week, we believe, when we have more time to digest all the information, so we're not talking out of our asiados. Hint.
You stole my joke.
Which I served to you on a silver platter in chat yesterday. But today we will be talking about Squadron 42 and the update that they brought us, like an hour and something video that I've only seen once so far. What about you?
I only watch things once, unless it's like a long distance between the things. But yeah, I've seen the squad. We have some shots from it as well, so we can talk and see and talk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Other than the bulk of the video, which was comprised of two things: the new Comere station Asiado, and some AI stuff. We also got new shiny, there's the
Sidnus mining drone.
Sidnus, an old man, and an M50.
Yeah, that gray and white M50.
Yeah,
very interesting. I mean, we know that the advocacy agents, like, they have their own Razor, the EX. So I guess why wouldn't they also have M50s?
And they have the MSR, the Mercury Star Runner.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, but but that seemed like as if it was being piloted by the player. So
that's true. I think I saw this once, and I really should have come back to digest this because like there is a lot of stuff actually. Like this thing, for
There's
instance.
that thing. What is it?
It
Yeah,
looks
it's like
like
a new salvage drone or what?
It's either a drone for salvage. It looks like if it is, it's an anvil vehicle because it has anvils like 4 VTOLs on either side. But it might just be a mining platform, honestly, like just a bus.
Could be, yeah. And this is what I was most impressed by. This is a hangar that has a Starfarer in it.
Yeah, a hangar with a Starfarer.
And a bunch of alphas.
Yeah. Very interesting. And of course, we have the, I think that must be Shubin, right? The Shubin mining platform.
Yes, it said Archon, yeah. So that I think that is the Shubin Archon station hangar where all of those things are in, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty damn cool. And that was that satellite as well. It looked like a rusty old...
The rusty old Comrade that we have now, yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's almost like a goodbye those and say hello to these new Asiato ones, you know? Speaking of which...
I wanted to ask, is Asiato the company that makes the Comrades, or is the Asiato the name of that particular Comrade?
Asiato is a company name, but I don't know if they make the Comrades or if they just run them.
Okay. So all of the Comrades are going to be branded Asiato.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how it is in the lore. You've already used up the talking out of your Asiato cards. I can't say that either. But yeah, no. Like, the word Asiato has been on for a long time. I believe the Comrades on Stanton are. I'd have to go back and check to see if there's any branding on them at all. But I think that they are Asiato. Yeah, because very old text for the fixing of Comrades was from Asiato to turn them on.
See. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Only makes sense then, yeah, that it is the company that's handling the communications aspect.
Yeah. So my big question is, where does the word Asiato come from? What does it mean, and why is it pronounced so weird? Why is E and A?
Yeah, I'm googling.
I'm googling as well. I'm googling right with you.
It's Portuguese, I want to say, or Spanish.
Right.
But, letters, having different, like vowels having different pronunciations in different languages isn't a new thing. Like I think it was 2 days ago, you were asking how Macedo was pronounced on one of your streams. And I went went Googling for a proper Portuguese pronunciation. It's Macedo.
Macedo, okay.
Yeah, so like the last O is like a half O or U, So it's just like, I guess.
In my quest for looking for how to pronounce Asiato, I found Asiato tortillas on Facebook if you're hungry.
And when was the last time you ate?
Yesterday. But like, okay. I mean, at the very least, there is this entry from Galactopedia for Asiato. It says, Asiato Com Relay is a human corporation that manufactures and maintains interstellar communications equipment. Then they tell you when it was founded and stuff. And it's best known for their ubiquitous relay towers, first deployed in whatever year, which transmit communications and navigational data across developed space. So they are the Com Relay people. For all the Com
Relay people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
well.
Products are interstellar communications equipment such as drones, towers, and relay stations. Yeah. But
that's that answered.
Yeah, but apart from the pronunciation, of course. Apart from the pronunciation. Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
Yes.
So on to the actual video. There were 2 of them. There was an intro to it with Chris Roberts talking to Brian, and I believe was Tony there. And
yes. No, not Tony. Todd
Pappy, perhaps. Yeah. And then afterwards,
I'm kind of embarrassed that I don't remember right now because I've only seen it once.
Yeah. And then, of course, they had the main thing where they had Brian talking to the devs, the one Cumberbatch's brother or something, and then they spoke to oh man, I forgot his name as well, the one with the cool living room, but yeah. Normally, I remember these names, but I've only seen them twice.
The face model for Miles Eckhart.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, like all in all, I think it was a really interesting show. Of course, the intro thing. I mean, it was just them saying. I think there was no info in the intro. They were just saying how cool it was, and then what took them so long making it. I guess, which we could talk about, I suppose.
Yeah. And it's basically just, the longer it took them, the closer they were to actually finishing Asiato Station. And if we could skip to that video and to show the lovely people how wonderful it looks. Right. First off, like the beautiful spacescape. Yeah.
Yeah, like you're right on all that. They said that in the video they actually put the blame on Chris for the delay. They said that like everything had been done for this show. Chris saw it, and it wasn't visual like the way we see all this now. We wouldn't have seen any of this. It would have just been like them talking in their living rooms with their bad audio equipment. So like, I mean, we still got exactly what it is that they wanted to do. They just basically redid it with this visual stuff.
Yeah. And also they used like the show has a couple of the concepts, and then the first person walk through the entire station, which has a lot smaller like habitable area than it seems, because like the entire thing is huge, but like inside it's no bigger than, let's say, the Port Olisar right now.
Right. I mean, like the living space, and I guess the working space as well, is quite small, because I guess the actual like working components of the station itself need to be big, but the people who live in it, who operate it, don't need to actually have that much space. The living quarters was an interesting addition. They turned this from what we have in the verse to something you could believably have. It has mission control. It has, like a bridge. It has a gravity generator.
Hangars for docking for people to come and go.
Exactly. All in all, it's really cool, really immersive, really believable as a thing, that could actually exist sometime in the far-flung future. I thought it was
2950.
Yeah, the attention to detail for it was
nothing
excessive?
Short of what we can expect. No, it's like what we've learned to expect from the shipmaking team.
Oh, it's true.
In Star Citizen.
It's true. Like it's basically a capital ship is what they've put their effort into making. And in any other game, you would call this excessive. How much?
Yes.
How much time do you think that as a player you would spend in a place like this?
Oh, all right. So, if this was an asset just to be used in Squadron 42 for a single or maybe two missions, that would be way over excessive. Excessive would be an understatement. But since they are using these to populate the entire universe of Star Citizen.
The MMO.
Yeah. They possibly, like, they have plans for data running that are far greater than we think.
Right. So they can just rinse and repeat this asset. They don't even have to worry about the space station, like modularity and randomness of it, because it is a spaceship. Like it is it is something by Asiato, and it's what they have, and it's what they do. So having it be identical isn't so weird or wrong. Maybe they can have like different bits of like flourishing and stuff. Maybe if you check out the hab area, one hab doesn't have a teddy bear or whatever because somebody else is living there. Maybe that kind of thing. But and also of course like in the Squadron Asiato one that we get to see, there's a lot of like random elements because this one's abandoned or something, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So the ones in SC may be in different stages or states of repair or disrepair based on like economy, right?
Yeah, because it looks like they have one half of this catwalk that's pristine and the other half that's abandoned, and they're just using the same area, but it's furnished differently. So you could have different combinations of it all. Like in the middle of Stanton, it would be quite like a pristine station,
Yeah.
well maintained. But like in Pyro, you could have one that's like completely falling apart, and possibly
Mm.
because these seem too big to travel to be towed through jump points, so they need to be produced locally. Maybe
They have their own bridge. They have their own bridge. Yeah.
True, but is that like a control center, or is it like for propulsion?
But
Like,
we've seen their control center. They have a whole mission control suite that's like mission control in any of those like NASA movies. And then they have the gravity generator room, which they said was going to be where a lot of the major components that you can mess around with are. Then they have that bridge, and on the back of one of those chairs, it says communications. I didn't get a glimpse of the back of the other chair, which could be anything. It could be the captain of the station, Cisco style. But Deep Space Nine could fly. I mean, like at a pinch.
true. Once they hand waved its gravitational constant to be lower than the rest of the universe, so its mass was minuscule, so they could push it.
I don't remember how episode 1 worked. All I know is Deep Space Nine flew and has thrusters, and that's the end of that. So
it has maneuvering thrusters to maintain position, but actual space travel, especially because for a comm array, you would want it to maintain position.
There are capital ships that are the same size.
That is true, but the purpose of this thing is a comm array. And again, like why is this so big and so at the very first thing in this series of Radio Room series of videos that they shown us? Like, why is it so important to them?
I think it's not necessarily the fact that it's so important to them, but that it's so early on in the story of Star Citizen, because we know that
Squadron 42.
Squadron 42, because when they released the vertical slice, the time it happened was after the player and Old Man had a run-in with OMC, with OMC. They had run-in with OMC at a comm relay. This is most likely that comm relay. So this is further back in time. So it's away from, I guess, the main story and the spoiler elements, and more just like the skirmish area and something we've seen already, is what I think.
They have also mentioned that 90% of Squadron 42 Chapter 1 will be taking place in the Odin system.
Right.
So this may be a location you return to several times.
Maybe.
Like throughout the story.
Yeah, because the thing is, and again, one of the reasons why the station is so fleshed out and every single corner is meticulously made is because it's not just like an action game where like you're on a linear path. Excuse me.
Bless you.
But like it's something you can come to and repeat and approach at so many different angles, not only inside the station but from the outside as well. And it does seem like, for the most part, like you'll be able to choose exactly how you go about doing things. I think in the vertical slice, Old Man says, "So what do you want to do? Do you want to go to what's her face, or do you want to continue your patrol?" And you get to choose. So yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see. We still have no idea what kind of game Squadron 42 is going to be, which is a really funny thing to say.
Yeah, I mean, unless you've read the script.
Well, I mean, the script, the story is one thing, but gameplay is a whole different thing. Is it going to be...
Especially since, the script was leaked before they managed to do planets, and then they said, we're going to have to scrap like 80% of the missions because now we have planets and we want to expand them to those.
Yeah. Because like, is Squadron supposed to be an action puzzler like Half-Life? Is it supposed to be like an emotionally emotionally charged linear shooter like Call of Duty? We don't actually know. So it's hard to tell what these things are going to be for and how much replayability there's going to be in the actual thing until we see it.
Yeah. And how much replayability is going to be in Star Citizen once we have them in every station? How important are they going to be in the everyday gameplay of players that they've
I'll say
like
this.
made them so intricate. Like,
I'll say
could you potentially get a job on one of those?
that'd be cool. That'd be cool. But I'll say this: it's gonna make the job of a pirate trying to turn off one of these comrades so they can do some piracy. Way more
yeah, that's gonna be like a multi-hour mission in and of itself, and then you're gonna have to have like an org to take over it and keep control of it. So when advocacy comes back, they don't just immediately run it over and undo all the effort that you've put into it.
Because if every comrade is like this in Star Citizen, like right now, for those who may be like not playing, so this is that chair. That one says comms, and then the back of this other one says comms as well. So I didn't see what it said in like the thinner print though. But yeah, so we don't really necessarily know what the entire bridge area up here is for, but you can't see outside into space from it though. There's too much dish in the way. But yeah. So for those who haven't like played Star Citizen, I guess, or who have played it but don't, right now, as a pirate or an outlaw, if you want to commit crimes but not have your crime be reported, you need to turn off the equivalent of this right now in Star Citizen, but they're much, much smaller. You just EVA in, put in a USB, and then wait a couple minutes and it's done. With this, you can only imagine you have to like board it somehow, kill everybody, and then put it in your pen drive or something. Maybe sneak in and do it, perhaps. But like,
yeah. Or it may be even like more intricate than it is right now, because right now you only have on and off. What if like they have so many different components and server racks? Maybe they have like tracking for every individual player and every individual ship, and you just somehow surreptitiously say, stop tracking those ships.
Huh. You could try that, I guess, but I'll give you an easy way they could make these big things work in the verse. Just have a destructible power plant outside you can shoot, and then it's offline for an hour. But
that is very simple and easy to do. It wouldn't provide any challenge, but flying in under the radar, sneaking in,
pun
hacking,
unintended, right?
Right. Sneaking in, and hacking it in a way that they don't notice that they've been hacked.
Yeah.
So they can continue operating as if everything was normal while you go about your merry way, doing whatever you want.
Right.
That would make it fun, I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have another way of hiding your tracks.
The thing is, I suppose, is that whilst that will be fun, when somebody wants to go ahead and turn off a comm array like this, their main goal is to do something else. And something like that would be 1.5 hours of something completely not what they wanted to do before they could then do what they want to do.
Sure, or you could have just a big ship attack it and destroy its power supply or its power lines or whatever, and achieve the same objective in a quicker but more obvious way.
Yeah, I guess only time will tell really with this. So yeah, most of this the briefing room, I suppose, was what Tyler said in a letter, like I think in like mid-year. He was like, so they're going to be talking about level design. They didn't say of what, and then of course they talked about the dynamic what do they even call it? Like
interrupts.
Yeah, dynamic interrupts for the conversations with the characters. I believe they said something like of the 250 scenes or whatever that
150 need to have those. So what do you think we need those? Do you think we need that technology?
I mean, it exists in much simpler forms in other games. But just to clarify, that's on the Idris. On the Idris alone, there are 200 and something odd scenes. Yeah.
Swap out maybe.
To the thing, sure.
Do the thing, yeah. So we
Mhm.
can watch Morrow get excited about our first mission being complete several times.
Yeah.
Um. Right. Okay. So having a conversation start when you approach
Mhm.
an NPC, that's something I've seen
Mhm.
before, right? But no game that I've played um has had like a conversation be able to be interrupted just by walking away. You either have to skip through all the options
Mhm.
and then turn around and walk away, or in the sense of Half-Life 2, you're always locked in the same room with them, and
Yeah.
the conversation just continues without any interrupt.
So one game that came out last year employs
Mm-hmm.
this. It's by not a large studio. It's Squanch Games. It's Justin Roiland's company. They made the guy who made Rick and Morty.
Mm-hmm,
They made a
mm-hmm.
game called Trover Saves the Universe, and they have pretty much exactly this, almost to a T. Because
Oh, okay.
again, they are they're all voice actors and stuff, and they work for Cartoon Network and stuff, so they're used to this kind of stuff. But but yeah,
Is it
so,
a big game?
it's like maybe several hours. I mean,
Mm.
but so yeah, you can talk to an NPC, and then like as you're talking, all of a sudden you can hit him. He goes, "Ow!" And then then he goes, "Ah, yeah, where was I?" And then he continues
Oh,
from a
right,
pickup
yeah.
line. Mm.
Mm.
Or you can
No,
walk away
but
and
like
do something.
a game like this, where but is it like a first person game or?
It's a first and third person game because
Oh, okay.
because like you're a dude in a flying chair controlling another dude, which then can hit the guy talking to you.
Okay, that's an
Yeah.
interesting concept. Maybe I
Mm.
have to look into it. But all right, so do you think this is like the future of how player NPC interactions are going to become in games? Because like for instance, Mass Effect, which was like
Yeah.
which this Squadron 42 was compared to in
Mm-hmm.
terms of um, complexity and extensiveness of lore and characters and storylines, etc., etc. But that game, if you start off a conversation, have to skip through them
Mm.
talking,
Yeah.
and then use your wheel to end the conversation, and then they go.
That's right.
Yeah, it's that's one of the biggest games that comes to mind with such a thing. I haven't played any of the Call of Duties, so I don't know how conversations work in those games.
Right.
But like most of the time, you're a silent protagonist. Halo, you don't speak outside of
The silent pro tag has been phased out though.
mm,
Even in this new Call of Duty, that I think the pro tag talks quite a bit.
mm,
I don't like talkative pro tags, but they exist now. But I think that you to answer your question, I think it's a paradigm shift. Honestly, like I think more and more games, especially action games, like action FPS games like this, will be employing something similar. Not all of them though. I mean, like the new Call of Duty. I say the new Call of Duty, like it hasn't been around for like 2 3 years. But Call of Duty, with its most recent story mode, like it's it's like this, but when you turn around, they're still talking and that kind of
yeah.
thing, or you're locked to a cone. They
Mm.
don't allow you to do this because, as cool as it is, unless of course, you're in an open world, Fallout, which pauses the environment around you. Sometimes does it? I forget. I've seen some
I don't
memes where
know.
it doesn't do that, but
Oh yeah, 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 and you all of a sudden get attacked by a robot or a dog, or while you're talking to like one of the A bombs just comes flying past your face.
yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah, unless of course you have a game that pauses the background when you're talking, which I don't think many games still do. I
Mm.
think we'll be seeing more of this. CIG, they like to say they like to, I guess, try new things and bring up new things, but because it's this open development thing, right? We might see something that's is like, wow, completely brand new, like a seamless planetary like a transit, right? Which was in 2016 a pipe dream no game's done before. But since they showed us People to Planet, we've had so many other games companies now showing that they can do it too, and they've spend that dev time now that they've seen that it's it can be done to do it themselves. It's very similar to this. I mean, even bartenders, even bartenders like that CIG had been working on for so long. Other games as well. Even Cyberpunk has bartenders that work in very much the same way as CIG's ones do, because I think there are some game devs have symposiums and meetups and all that kind of stuff, and they're always talking. So when
certain ideas.
Yeah, exactly. So I would not be surprised if this sort of dynamic realism when it comes to conversations comes in other games, at least in high fidelity games. Others don't necessarily need it.
Yeah, because right now, Cyberpunk is going to be very interesting to see what it's like. But even CD Projekt Red's previous game, like The Witcher 3, you were very much locked into a conversation and just standing there and waiting for your lights to burn out. Okay?
This one I kicked out.
Okay. But yeah, you were waiting for the other person to finish talking, so you were then presented with a menu of options to either respond, go back in the tree to pursue other venues of conversation, or to exit a conversation. But no matter what you did, you had to wait and then go through all the options to exit the conversation. And if the game does not pause the action, like most games don't at this point, then stuff can happen. And I've seen a lot of people be frustrated, like something's happening in the background and I'm just waiting for this dude to talk and talk and talk and talk.
Yeah, it's an elegant way of just saying nope and continue with the story. But It was a wild line by the developer, but he mentioned that do this too much and you risk the reputation system biting you in the ass, because these NPCs are gonna develop relationships and stuff.
With you. Like if you keep interrupting them or walking away in the middle of this of conversations, they may eventually just stop talking to you.
Yeah, Mara will remember that.
Yes.
Tomorrow. But I mean, also I suppose what we don't know about this, right? What we've seen here is basically like the same conversation Groundhog Day. So like he continues talking about this thing about this lieutenant. But like what we don't know is like, okay, if we turn around and like completely ignore that, will you have the choice of being able to get him to speak up again? Because like this was a very
same conversation.
Yeah, I don't think you will, because this is a very organic conversation that you kind of like butted into. He was talking to somebody else about this lieutenant, and then you walk inside and he adds you to the conversation, and then you walk away and he goes back to work. He would have to start talking to that lieutenant again. You'd have to like walk inside, and because of the way Star Citizen is, I think they just Dark Souls it and make it like tough. Play through the entire game again to get this because you ruined it.
And even in the this is gonna require so many different playthroughs. Like even when you have different options in conversations for responses, it's like the acting is so good. And it may take you in such a varied different way in not just the storyline but just your relationship with the character, that I'd want to, go play again and see what happens when I chose the stupid option. Yeah.
So we know a lot of tech is, under the hood here with this conversation stuff. Like when you turn around, like, I don't know if it's in this video, but when you turn around, like there's a cone and, like a...
No, I didn't include that. It's just...
Yeah, but also like, in the earlier tour, if you were to look up at that machine up there, he'll tell you about that. You look down, he's like, that's not a hot tub, and that kind of thing. It's a good thing this isn't a Japanese game, because otherwise, if you like were to look at other parts, maybe they'd be like, and maybe that might, mess up your reputation with them.
Yeah, interesting. Another interesting bit about Squadron 42 that I realized is the actual subject of their conversation. Like this lieutenant
that they're talking about
they were talking about how she got her face rearranged on shore leave.
Yes.
So she used her shore leave to visit a plastic surgeon, and then
in Nix, likely at Levski,
or one of those backwater planets, possibly Nix.
No, he says Nix.
he does say Nix, yeah. And that is going to be the an in-lore way of adjusting how you look.
And I think he also talks about our character, the lieutenant, as well, about how they didn't look anything like how they look now.
Yeah.
Because obviously you get to customize your character. Which is kind of funny.
It's kind of funny, and also kind of like an accepted thing in society,
I suppose. I mean, like, there's a word that they use for it as well. I forget what it is now, but for like modifications and stuff, there's a word that they use, and the shipjackers themselves, like, in the concept art, they have like seams around their faces and stuff, almost similar to like the Vandul mask people are hunting for. Like they have seams like that, and on their faces and stuff.
Yeah, but if it's like an accepted thing in society that you just all of a sudden go away for a week and come back with a completely new face, that would be
I don't think it's going to be like a tattoo.
A good way of making it, like justifying the entire DNA system.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't think it's gonna be just like a tattoo. You might have to go through some kind of like legal paperwork or something. Like it might be like the same as changing your name.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Because it is a part of your identity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah. Anyway, I mean, apart from that, I mean, like, what about? I haven't really looked at Spectrum and Reddit and when this came out. I don't know what kind of reception this has had from the community.
You don't want to know.
All negative?
You can probably imagine.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's generally how it is, right? But
it's like, what were these people expecting? It's a game that everybody agrees is not going to get spoiled until it's out. So it's like, CIG has their hands tied in that regard with what they can show you.
Yeah. It's a single player game. Why would people want to be spoiled for a single player game? I mean, like, I guess SC leaks exist, right? But but at the same time, and Chris brought this up, and I know many people would be like, would huff about this point, but the pledge back in 2013, it wasn't for Squadron 42. It was explicitly for Star Citizen. So when people complain about open development when it comes to this game, they're not owed anything.
But then there's the whole lawsuit where it says that Star Citizen and Squadron 42 are technically one game, etc., etc. It's a lot of jumping through hoops to try to justify your whining, I guess.
But yeah, and Parker says, wasn't SC basically Squadron 42 back then? I think at that time they had already decided to split it into two. And at that time you could still buy Squadron 42 or Star Citizen or both, depending on what packages you got. They had already made at least a front-facing distinguishment between those two things. And so they could have easily said Star Citizen and Squadron 42. But yeah. There was a window. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there was. Sorry, Darsh, this isn't how we do our YouTube stuff normally.
No. It's fine. Yeah, it's an interesting. I wouldn't say it. I don't know if interesting is the correct word, but a point of contention. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people I guess they don't realize how much they'd be missing out on if the development of Squadron 42 was as transparent as it is for Star Citizen.
It's still the most transparent game in the world. Even if it's not as transparent as people want, it's still the most transparent game in the world. Tell me any other game, any other game that does weekly videos, that does these monthly studio reports, that does this at any size. Even indie games don't tell you this much. Like even like single dev indie teams will no. It's just not done.
CD Projekt Red started something with
Night City Wire,
the Cyberpunk, but only like six months before the game was to be released. Olwyn says Warframe. I don't know how Warframe does it.
So I have to look into it.
No. Yeah. But is it as extensive? I guess
Warframe has streams. Warframe has a convention and stuff like that, but I don't know if Warframe does.
How large is their development base? And like is it, considering how large a community-facing team CIG has, is it like, what's the word? Relative in size, in scope?
I don't know. Does Warframe do weekly videos, I guess? Does Warframe do a monthly report? Does Warframe... I don't know. I'll have to check. I'm pretty sure they don't.
And, but even in Star Citizen, they don't want to give us everything just because... At various points, the technology is just not ready to be showed. And they don't, the people are always going to go off of what CIG produces. And if they just continue pushing out technology in from the very start as they start development, people are gonna think that it's never going to end up as good as it possibly can. Even like the new features when they're released in game, people immediately flock to Reddit and this is broken, this is completely unbalanced, I did not pledge for this. It's like this is the first implementation of the thing.
Yeah, I mean, even if your project is kickstarted, you still don't owe people anything. You owe them the product. You don't owe them the process.
Nope.
But
that is something that CIG went into specifically.
But anyway, yeah, I didn't mean to segue into any of this talk, but yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the Squadron 42 video. I mean, it was an hour and 20 minutes long. It was nice to reminisce about ATV and how long those things used to be, but otherwise, I mean,
But yeah, it was a lot of nothing. I think it could have been condensed, but we were also promised a big update video, and they had to deliver that.
Yeah, I mean, so I'll first of all I'll contend that it wasn't a lot of nothing. We got this, which is really cool. We got we got this, which is really cool. But again, they didn't need to. I mean, they didn't need to show us, again, the process between the gray box stage and then all this. They could have literally just said, so we worked on this, here it is, so we did this with that, there it is.
Yep. And they also didn't have to show us all the ways of getting inside the ship. Even the hidden one.
I mean, that's the issue about working without a script. Is or doing a thing like this where you're a level designer and everything is basically just a blasé to you now, and then showing it off is that you can easily do that even if it's by accident, and it wasn't a live video. They could have cut that, but they didn't. But yeah, regardless, I think it was pretty cool. It wasn't.
Oh, definitely.
It was not the update I think people were expecting. But they should have, because this is the video that they said that they were doing, the briefing room. This is what this was exactly word for word what Tyler described was going to be on the video. But it wasn't a state of the squadron. If you
yeah. I mean, if they wanted State of the Squadron, they should have asked for a video called State of the Squadron.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, but then Montoya would sue because that's what we call it, and that's what Montoya's monthly video is.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
And yeah, Parker asks a good question. Like, wonder it's going to be a quarterly show, so I wonder what we'll see next time.
That's a good point. Yeah. So we've
maybe some of Archon.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I hope not, honestly, because so this first show was level design and it was dynamic NPC conversations. I would love to see actual NPC combat AI. How is the combat AI in Star Citizen actually going to function and work, and Squadron as well? Because right now they are brick-headed. They suck. They're bad. They're just bad. You know, like
once they have their full brains, big brain time NPCs.
And it wasn't a good show to show the AI the way they were in the show, going behind cover and facing the wrong way and stuff like that. Because man, it doesn't matter how beautiful this game will be, if the gameplay is bad, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So yeah, I mean, sure, the story could be nice or whatever, but like gameplay wise, it has to kind of like look at this right there. The gameplay has to match that.
Definitely.
And everything we've seen so far doesn't match that. So we'll see.
Yeah, and that is one of the biggest complaints. Like, if you go into the YouTube comments for this video, like most of them is like, "Yo, but where's the gameplay, CIG?"
I mean, again, where's the gameplay? That's because they're talking about level design. They're talking about stuff that's not spoiler, but would
be nice to see the state of technology without having anything spoiled. Yeah,
they could put some NPCs into a white room with corridors or whatever and talk about like because we know that they have like different levels of AI with different, you know, like from novice to like experienced, like
ace.
Yeah, to ace, exactly. So show that, I guess. And you know, because that really, I mean, like everything else is amazing. CIG are amazingly good when it comes to making these locations. They make great spaceships, they make great atmospheres, the music is phenomenal, but the only big question mark for me is AI. And with Star Citizen, of course, AI, sure, with like netcode or whatever, like you can give it a pass because like they're still working on it and the big netcode stuff isn't in yet. But for Squadron, there is no excuse.
Yeah, everything is going to be running on your PC.
Yeah.
There will be no netcode issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. And hope that new roadmap will come soon as well.
Yep. Promised end of the year. Well, this year still.
Yeah.
But we all know what that means.
Yeah.
Like in CIG time, we can probably look forward to it in January or February, I guess.
Maybe.
When
Chad McKinney was asked about iCache and all that stuff, he made a Christmas pun, but Chris Roberts, who normally is, you know, like known for his like what's the word, optimism, he said like mid-year or something for iCache and like sometime later in the year for server meshing, which only means it's like in the next 5 years, right? So we'll see.
But Chris Roberts has been very good in the past years to avoid giving us dates.
That's true.
I guess he had that lesson learned.
Yeah, he kind of suffers from a reputation earned from like 2015-16. He doesn't do that anymore, but people will still like, you know, like make fun because that's how the internet works. You are who you were like 5 years ago and you can't change, but that's a different thing.
But yeah, I guess that's it for this week's Fortnightly Frontier. We will be back next week to cover the election before the vote deadline is up.
But until then, vote Addison.
Yeah, vote Addison. Yeah. I think that for next week's show we should cover all of the candidates' positions and how we think, whether they're elected or not, how that is going to influence like the lore going forward.
Yeah, sure.
But vote Addison.
Yeah. 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 Are you still here?
Yeah.
Why aren't you voting?
I've
Go
only
vote.
voted.
Not you, Darj. Them. Go vote.
Oh, them.
Yeah.
Yes, go vote. Now. Stop watching and go vote.
And we'll see you around the verse.
Bye-bye.